Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining. I'm Joni Young and I'm going to show you step by step how I painted this whimsical fantasy painting. We're going to be working on an 11 by 14 canvas board. Here are the colors and I'll list them below in the description. We'll start with titanium white, neon yellow, neon orange, and a little bit of neon pink. And a large mop brush. Let's begin twirling those colors around and softly blending them into one another and all around the canvas. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take a large flat brush. I'm using a number 11 and I'm scraping off some of the paint very gently, exposing the canvas underneath. And I'm going to do the same here for some of the sun rays. And this is a really fun and interesting technique that you guys can try when you've got different colors underneath. So now this yellow is really standing out that we've got underneath the other colors. And then I'm going to start pulling lines across, and I think I'm going to create a staircase right here. I'm going to make shorter and shorter little brush strokes all the way up towards the top right. Longer ones down on the bottom for the foreground. This gives us the illusion and makes us feel like we're standing right there and we can walk right up those stairs. I'll continue to scrape off gently the excess paint here and wipe it off on a towel that I have close by. Now it's really fun to use neon paints, but if you don't have any, you can still create this painting using any other variations, so a bright yellow, bright orange, or bright red or pink. And I'm going to make a little circle here and scrape off some of the paint. Then I'm going to squeeze out some more neon pink, some bronze or copper, and some metallic turquoise. So with my little flat brush, I'm just going to take some more paint off here to make a circle shape. Now once I've done that, I'm going to switch over to one of my favorite mop brushes, which is actually a makeup brush. Yes, I love to use makeup brushes in my studio. They make for perfect little bushes and trees and foliage. I'm taking some of that turquoise, which is metallic, so it's got a really nice shimmery sheen to it, and I'm going to start tapping in some foliage for some trees and little bushes. I'll bring some over on the right side at the top, and then I'm going to start dusting it in and blending it into the background, pulling it around the top of that circle, and then straight across the bottom. And then I'm going to pull that paint very lightly, barely touching the canvas. Pull and flick down from those branches at the top, making it look like there's some moss dripping and hanging off those branches. And then I'm picking up this beautiful bronze copper color that's metallic-y as well, and I'm going to incorporate that in these bushes and start adding some foliage and little bushes along either side of the staircase. So just with these colors first, and then I'll switch to another mop brush later on and use more green and yellow. I've got a long liner brush here that I'm going to start painting some tree trunks and branches with. Now you can use any size brush that you feel comfortable with. And then I'm going to pull lines across for the stairs. And then I'm going to pick up some of that shimmery turquoise and add that in the staircase as well. And then I'm going to begin working all around the circle that we have on the right side, which is going to be our little magical portal. And I'm going to make twisted looking branches on either side of it, and then towards the top I'll add a little bit more of that bronze copper. I'm going to pull some lines on either side, the left and the right, into a peak towards the top, so it sort of will look like a triangle. Over to my little flat brush again. I'm just going to detail these stairs a little bit more. Now I'm going to pour out some of my shimmery yellow-green color. Now this is metallic. And some more of my white. And I like to use titanium white, but you can use any white that you have or that you prefer. I've got my smallest little mop brush here. I'm going to take some black, maybe some sap green, along with that iridescent shimmery green, and just start adding some little bushes and foliage on either side. I'm going to make them larger down at the bottom. And add some kind of going up on either side of our little portal. Smaller as they get up towards the top. Same with the staircase to make it look like it's farther away. You want to paint things smaller. And then as they're closer to us there in the foreground, they're going to be larger. So I've got another mop brush here to create the larger ones here. I'm using lots and lots of this beautiful shimmery green. I was recently gifted a bunch of new paints, many of which are light fast, color changing, metallic, iridescent. So many different ones that I've never used before, and I'm just having so much fun in my studio this weekend. I think this is the third or fourth tutorial I've done in the last 3 days. So, and it is really just because I absolutely love what I do, and I can't wait to share them all with you guys. If you want to see my tutorials before anybody else, you can head over to Patreon, where you get early access to my videos. So I've got my little fan brush now, and I'm taking my black with my green, and I'm just gonna, I want a different type of foliage. I don't want all of the leaves and bushes to look the same, so I'm gonna change my brushes up to get different types of leaves and bushes. And then I'm gonna hold my fan brush straight up and down and pull and drag up for a tree trunk. Okay, the next color I'm going to be using after I do a few of these tree trunks is going to be my neon yellow. And if there's one color that I would really recommend you don't leave out of this painting, is the neon yellow. That is what gives it this really summery glow that I love so much. It really brings this painting to life. So I'm taking a little liner brush. You can use actually any brush you want for this. And I'm just going to place little dabs of that yellow over top of part of the other greens, and also on part of the background, so here on the bushes and then inside that little portal. And it just pops. It makes everything else look so pretty too. It's very complementary to all the other colors. I'm just even going to pull a little bit across the stairs to make it look like there's moss or vines kind of growing and spilling over the edge onto those stairs. And down at the bottom, the base of the stairs as well. I'm even going to add some on the side here over top of the neon pink and the branches on the trees. I'm going to work on these shadows on the stairs a little bit more. And add some more branches. Using that lovely copper or bronze. And I'm going to start to curl over and make those branches start to meet in the middle at the top of the canvas above those stairs. So I'm just going to continue all around the painting, adding branches and tree trunks, just building this up. It's all coming to me as I'm painting. I really didn't know exactly what this was going to turn into and what I wanted to paint, but I'm starting to envision a few more little portals. I'm going to do one on the bottom right and the bottom left, and obviously you guys know that from the thumbnail of this video. And I'm pulling and twirling my brush around to make it look like those tree trunks are sort of twisted and wrapping around. I'm going to add a few little branches here. Now I've got another little mop brush I'm going to be using. This one's a little bit stiffer, and I'm going to start pulling off some paint in the shape of a circle, leaving the white canvas underneath exposed. Then I'm going to create a pretty light color in there using neon pink, neon yellow, and white. So similar to our background, and I'll do the same over on the right side. Then I'm just going to tap in neon yellow, adding some foliage and leaves and branches kind of around the outside of it. This helps to make it look really inviting. And I'm just going to pull and dust along the bottom of the canvas. Now I wanted to add a little bit of pink in there, but it was a bit too much. So I'm just going to balance that out and correct it. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is take my liner brush, and I want to take white, pink, and turquoise. This is going to give me almost a light blue violet shade, which is really, really pretty, as you can see, and that is just by using that turquoise, neon pink, and white, guys. And I'm going to start adding a highlight to all of my trees and branches. So as you can see, I've pulled it into the stairs a little bit too, just in trying to incorporate all those colors in the staircase as well, reflecting from that pretty sky and those sun rays. I'm going to add a few more touches of that purple color that I made, a few extra branches, and then I'm going to switch over to another mop brush, and we'll start applying all of the leaves on the treetops. So I'm using a different kind of a mop brush this time. It's not your typical round shape, but it's very soft like my mop brushes, and it makes some beautiful treetops and foliage. So I've taken my neon pink, quite a bit of it, and then I'm taking turquoise, and then I'm going to soften with a little bit of white, which you can see here just for some little highlights and just to give these trees a little bit more dimension. And then I'm going to pull very lightly, with hardly touching that canvas and paint at all. It helps to have a very soft brush like this to get that soft kind of a look. It almost looks like weeping wisteria when you do that. And then I'm over to a small brush again, a little liner, or you could use a very, very small Filbert as well. And I'm just taking some white with my yellow to add the final glow and highlights to the stairs, the foliage, and those sun rays. I'm going to pick up more of my neon pink now. Not that I really need to add any more, I just love it so much. And I'm going to mix it again with the turquoise and start to add a little bit more on either side of the canvas. And right above this little portal here on the bottom left. And I'll just pull and drag a bit of that green and black that's on there and have some vines hanging down a little bit from them. Okay, so a few more details to my branches, a little bit along the edge here on the right side, and a little bit more on the top. I just want to have the indication that there's some branches underneath all that wisteria. And then right in here, I ended up, you'll see in a few minutes, I end up taking it off, but I'm adding a little bit more of my yellow and white here. As the paint dries, it's going to fade slightly, so you want to wait a little bit before you decide if you need some more highlights or not. If you really want your neons to pop and be really, really bright, you want to make sure you have enough white underneath, or in this case, I'm applying the neon yellow over top of green or dark green, so I needed to add some white with it to make sure that it stayed bright yellow. Back over to my fan brush, turquoise and pink to get that pretty purpley color. I'm adding some more, and then right here, this is where kind of went wrong on this branch hanging over the staircase. I'm going to take that off. I really don't like it, so I don't want to leave that out. I want to show you guys what you can do if you make mistakes or you decide along the way that you don't like something that you've added and how you can correct it. Just evening out these stairs a little bit. Okay, so right in here, I'm just gonna gently scrub that paint off the same way I would how I make those little portals down there. Just taking that paint off, and then I'm gonna add a little bit more of that background color in a little bit. I'm also gonna add some more yellow here along the trees. It's gonna dry sort of a green color because I don't have a lot of white that I'm adding to it right now. And I want to add some moss hanging down the side of those stairs, so I'll show you how I did that in a few minutes. I'm just taking my fan brush again, and I'm going to add some shadow. Need a little bit more of shadow here around the edges, top and bottom and sides. Having it darker around the outside, creating that vignette, helps draw our eyes into the center of the painting more. Okay, some black and some yellow, and I'm going to turn my brush sideways, pull and flick. That'll help these stairs look a little bit more 3D and create that hanging moss effect. So I'm just going to add a little bit more to the stairs, trying different brush strokes, pulling down, and then I didn't like that, so I decided to go pull over top of it and go straight across again. And as you can see, I keep adding more and more of that neon yellow and white. Picking up a little bit more of my turquoise now, and I'm using the corner of my brush for thicker taps. Maybe those are some bigger leaves and different types of plants. And then I'm mixing turquoise with my neon yellow, and that makes a really pretty green color. So I'm just going to begin adding the final details of this painting before I call it all done. And it was a really fun one to work on. I love creating these fairy tale whimsical paintings and sharing them with you guys. I know how much you enjoy them and enjoy them as well, and I love that you're showing me all your versions of them on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks so much for tagging me in all of your pictures and taking the time to watch my tutorials, commenting, joining Patreon. Welcome to all of my new patrons. I appreciate you guys for all of your support. While I add the last little bit of flowers here, I want to say thanks again, and I'll see you next time very soon in another video. Bye!